traditional and conventional kind of chemicals to more natural. Some of them may be more expensive, some of them may be less expensive, but it is possible to create such the gains and the costs for every size of business. It has nothing to do with the large size of the business because of which these outcomes are occurring for ITC. It's just that the mindset needs to be created in the first instance that I can break that compromise or a conflict between what is good for me and what is good for my supplier or a customer. It is possible to create a win-win for everybody. I think once that comes in, it is possible to innovate interesting new models.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I want to ask, you have supply chain logistics in place. What is preventing ITC actually getting into the dairy business?
Yeah, some of you may have seen in media recently that we just started dairy activity on a commercial basis. So far, in some of these geographies, we were engaged only at the back end in terms of improving livestock quality and some of the things that you saw in the video. But just this year, a dairy plant is under construction. We are starting with Bihar in the first instance. A dairy plant is under construction. So initially, it will be getting consumed as part of our own requirements of milk powder. A lot of it gets consumed in biscuits and confectionery that we currently already produce. There is R&D activity that is happening for interesting new products in the dairy sector. I think as those R&D efforts bear some fruit, we'll also see the downstream dairy products in the marketplace. So that business has already commenced. It has obviously slightly different kind of supply chain dynamics compared to the products that we currently handle, but nonetheless they can be complemented. But we are very much on that track that you are talking about.
Good evening, sir. This is Kalyandeep Rai. I'm from PGP1 TAPMI. What I wanted to ask is that when you look at sustainability as a model, or when you look at inclusive growth as a model, I think that obviously ITC has done a great job in identifying this initiative, but many more such initiatives can be identified if industries move away from the present performance-based or best-in-class sustainability initiatives to best-in-context sustainability initiatives, in which it says that this is not what I'm doing as the best of this group or this industry, but this is what can be done in this context. So how do you see industries themselves moving towards that direction? Is there an inertia against it from the industries, or is it something that is happening already at the top level? Thank you.
Yeah, I think as part of spreading this mindset and this kind of innovation on a wider basis, in addition to such activities being done within, ITC has partnered with CII, the industry body, the Confederation of Indian Industry, and set up a CII ITC Center for Sustainable Development, which works with corporates who are membership of CII to, in their context, look at, see if it is a steel industry, what are the kind of things which are possible, if it is an engineering equipment, what is possible, and if it is education, what is possible across. It's essentially facilitating with some amount of, it's not that ITC brings all the knowledge there, it is just that ITC has put in some investment to support that center to trigger and share where required our cases, but best practice from around the world, faculty from around the world for various programs are brought in, and many companies do participate, and awards, for example, are also given from time to time using under that auspices, so that the recognition is also happening to companies who are doing it. I think there is generally relatively speaking, a more widespread awareness, but I think still that issue of mindset is what I see as a first level constraint. Many people still believe that, yeah, it is possible, you have done it, it is possible someone else has done it, but not in my context. But I think as those kind of breakthroughs are occurring, many other industries are also doing it. And like we are doing here around the world. There are various academic institutions. I mean, certainly TAPMI is also something which triggered the Center of Inclusive Growth. Similarly, many other academic institutions are engaged in research into this field as to what is happening everywhere. How do you share those learnings with people at large so that they can then be supported? Within our own another business, which is ITC Infotech, we have a practice vertical which is focusing on sustainable development. So that, because it's a services company, we engage with other companies in creating breakthrough business models there. Primarily their area of operation is for this model is operating in Africa and Latin America. And some of the innovations are occurring there as well.
Good evening, sir. My name is Shri. I am from TAPMI. So you were talking about the recent debate about whether CSR should be mandatory or not. And you also pointed out some definitive ways in which CSR contribution of a corporate can be measured. But until that utopia is reached, don't you think this mandatory CSR is more a sound idea?
See, yeah, as I said, it can work. It will bring certain incremental investments, but that is not good enough. Any outcome-based mandate is certainly far more scalable and far more valuable than just an outlay-based kind of an effort. Because then companies can also innovate there to say that I can get a greater outcome even with a lower outlay, or with this outlay I can get something even bigger, because that is the direction. Because the corporate money that can come into this field at that kind of a mandated percentage is insignificant compared to the investment that are already being made by government or by the foundations or by multilateral agencies. Incrementally what you bring to the table is not so significant. But what the business and corporate sector have is enormous amount of entrepreneurial ability, innovation ability. If that can be harnessed, what I'm saying is that it can be far more outcome based. So to mandate something in the first instance is better than not having anything, without any doubt. But this by itself is unlikely to solve the problem, because the magnitude of the challenge is far bigger. So it's in that direction that I'm suggesting.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ramanuj. Sir, considering the geographical diversity of India, the yields of various crops change across the, like an yield of wheat in Punjab will be considerably different than the yield of wheat in UP and somewhere else. So how does ITC tweak its model to suit the profitability as well as the farmers' needs in various geographical regions? Or has ITC has some divisions of, like, we want to play in Punjab, we don't want to go in UP? So how does ITC work out the whole model of implementation?
Yeah, the model largely works on a co-creation approach together with farmers. It is not as if knowledge is brought from somewhere and dumped as a common solution across every place. It is a co-creation in the sense that there is a fair amount of knowledge that is sitting with the farmers. There is some which is sitting with the farmers who they are not in touch with in other villages, and some which is coming from the laboratories and other technology centers and such places. The idea is that it is completely localized for every geography as may be relevant, and as part of E-Choupal 3.0, for example, now with mobiles getting integrated into the interaction between the farmers and the network of E-Choupal, it is not only customized to the region, it is actually getting to personalizing to individual farmers also. If there is a best practice saying that, okay, in your area so much of nutrition needs to be supplemented for your crop, given this as a best practice. But a farmer who has grown a different previous crop will require slightly different kind of a nutrition depending on what that crop has taken off or what is left in the soil. So that needs to be completely different, even if it is a neighboring farmer. Or a farmer who is saying that, okay, I know that this is the best practice, but I also don't want to take as much risk in investing so much. I only want to invest so much, so therefore is there a more optimal solution rather than chopping off anything at random. So that personalization is also something, is the direction that is happening now with the integration of mobile phones, and with a fair amount of dialogue that occurs among the farmers and among the peers from not necessarily within the village but from elsewhere through this network. Then the individual farmer then personalizes whatever is required. So it is certainly clear that there is no one solution which works for everybody in a place like India with such varied kind of agroclimatic conditions.
So as far as implementation is concerned, how easy or difficult is it for ITC to bypass the Mahajan and the Mandi system in different parts of India? Like in some parts it might be easy, some part it might be very difficult. So how does ITC go ahead with this, overcome this obstacle in this in the implementation of this model?
So I think fortunately what happened for us was that when the initiative was first launched, most of the traders felt that how can computers be used in villages? How can so many corporates have come and ran away from the business of agriculture? At the end of the day, we have to operate this business. So I think with that, I think the initial period is that they ignored that this model can succeed. So as a result, we got some breathing time, and it's only sometime by the third year when significantly more material is moving out of that system and transparency in the marketplace is actually pressurizing their margins, that they realize that this is not beneficial to them. And the significant amount of resistance or agitation really started after the third year. I think fortunately what happened for us is that by then the farmer actually has seen the benefits of a more transparent and competitive system, and to a larger or a smaller degree every single state had this level of resistance as it got implemented. But the largest of all resistance happened in the state of Madhya Pradesh in year 2004 and the traders have shut mandis for 15 days in the peak soybean season with the demand to the government saying that whatever reforms that have been carried out in the Agriculture Produce Marketing Act should be reversed and ITC should be forced to come back to mandi rather than operating e-Choupal centers. And they felt that if it was done in the peak of the season, farmers is under pressure to sell at that point of time and encash the crop. Government also will probably buckle. But I think what happened at the end of a few days like that was that the farmer actually took to the streets. More than 35,000 farmers came onto the streets of Bhopal sometime in the second week of that agitation by the traders. And obviously their voice was far more powerful. They said if at all government does something, it is encouraging more companies to set up models which are creating competition rather than removing it and pushing everybody back to the same mandi. So I think with that pretty much the entire direction was sealed, and that resistance and that support from the farmers actually also has reinforced our strength in tackling it at various levels across many states. I mean, even today the Agriculture Produce Marketing Act is not completely reformed in every single state, and even today in every place that we go there is resistance of a smaller or a larger nature which is there. But I think this significant support that we got in 2004 has certainly reinforced our belief and strength that this can be pushed and it can work. And I think that is what has really worked in our favor and expansion of this model. Close here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You spoke about the pressure on natural resources, which is very natural, so to say, in a country like India, and you backed it up with the statistics in the beginning. And from there, we came to a very typical kind of a conundrum that would be faced by probably every business. That is, how do you take care of this triangle of nature versus society versus industry in that, not necessarily in that order. And it only took a few lines from you to demonstrate that it requires business skill and entrepreneurial skill to see an opportunity where others see conflict. So how do you mesh these three and still come out with a win-win situation, or win-win-win situation, if I can put it that way, for all, is what we have gathered from this and through your initiatives, the sharing that you have done, and also through the question answer session about the nitty-gritties as to how these things happened and what were the obstacles in the way. Thank you very much, sir. It is going to be extremely difficult to demonstrate to Mr. Siva Kumar our entire gratitude the entire house has for the time that he's taken out and for the efforts he's put into interact with TAPMI and its and the constituents around it. However, as a token, I would like to request Dr. Shantaram to please present a small memento on our behalf, again to demonstrate our gratitude. Thank you very much, sir. It is also my privilege to present the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I sincerely thank Mr. Siva Kumar, the Group Head of IT and Agri-Businesses Divisions of ITC Limited, for having taken out time from his extremely busy schedule and very graciously accepting our invitation to come and deliver the 8th lecture of the Leadership Lecture Series of TAPMI. We are extremely proud and honored, sir. Thank you very much. I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Shantaram, who has readily agreed to be with us and chair this function, and as always demonstrate that he is there for TAPMI whenever required. Thank you very much, sir. I thank all the dignitaries of the dais who have graced this occasion by their august presence, including our guests from ISRO who are there. Thank you very much for being here. A special thanks to the members of the press who have also taken time to come and cover this event. I wish to thank the faculty and students and staff of TAPMI as well as all the other institutions in Manipal for being here in such good numbers and taking advantage of this wonderful sharing of knowledge over here. Thank you very much. A special word of thanks to the staff, the organizing team over here led by Mr. Nayak and Mr. Harish for their wonderful backstage work and never letting anybody know that it is a slight issue to take care of these things, but still being there so gracefully. Thank you very much.